On episode 18 of the Garage Guys Report, we are breaking down Texas, the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400. We're going to dive into what's to come at Talladega. We're going to get to race fan voicemails. And we've got a little situation happening in our world that we're going to break down because I think I know how we can revive NASCAR in a bigger way than has ever been done before. All this and more on episode 18 of the Garage Guys Report. Motorsports News For You.
1, 2, 3, 4. Garage Guys Report. Garage Guys Report. It's the Garage Guys Report. Motorsports News For You. It's the Garage Guys Report. It's the Garage Guys Report. Yeah. It's the Garage Guys Report. Yeah. It's Motorsports News For You. Yeah. It's the Garage Guys Report. It's the Garage Guys Report. Oh yeah. It's the Garage Guys Report. It's Motorsports News For You.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Welcome to the Garage Guys Report. I'm your host Chase Holden. And this is where I've got some motorsports news for you. We're going to talk about NASCAR. We're going to talk about F1. We're going to talk a little bit about anything about racing. If there's some kind of racing going on, it's here. We'll talk about it. And it also comes in handy when you help out as well by calling the Garage Guys Report hotline, 919-769-4477. Call that number any day of the week, and your voicemail will appear on the next episode of the Garage Guys Report. I don't care if it is just your thoughts on the race. If you got some news you want to drop about a local dirt race, some wild shit you thought happened, maybe you had a foot race with someone, and there was a motor involved somehow. I don't really care. Just check it out, call that hotline number. I want to hear your thoughts. I play them here on the show, the race fan voicemails. They're always a good time. And now with the new format of the show, we go right into them. So we're getting ready to do that as well. Before we get to the voicemails and everything else on this episode, we got to give a special thanks to Hooters. Shout out to Hooters right now. If you download the Hooters app or use order.hooters.com to place a to-go order, you can use promo code GarageGuys and save $10 on any $30 or more order when you order to go. It's just another way Garage Guys helps you save and helps you get to Hooters, because Hooters is for race day. Hooters is for racing, and Hooters is for Garage Guys. So don't forget, promo code GarageGuys, save $10 off any $30 or more to go order when you order off the Hooters app or from order.hooters.com. That offer is valid at participating locations for delivery and carry-out orders only. So yeah, it is now time to get to the race fan voicemails from this week. I'm sure we're going to have some that are discussing the race at Texas, where I had a meltdown on playback.tv/Garage Guys. If you were in there on the playback social broadcast of the race, you got to watch that happen in real time. We listened to a lot of early 2000s rap when I finally just had enough of the carnage. My bets just went to shit. But we'll save that for another time. We're just going to go ahead and dive right into voicemails. We're going to start it off with our main man, the one, the only, Spurs Ted Lasso. Here we go. Spurs Ted Lasso. Let's see what he had to say.
Fellow reporters, this is your August Pity Man, Spurs Ted Lasso, coming to you live from the parking lot of my employer. Today, unfortunately, I come to you with frightening news. I've been presented proof from a stout, bona fide reporter source that Tyler Reddick was in fact not in Texas this weekend. Instead, he was boozing his little face off at a wedding all the way across the country with my source, a.k.a. NASCAR Woj. Now, how is this possible? We all watched him race on Sunday, or at least we thought we did. As you all know, I've been a firm truther of the evil JGR empire, including Darth Sidious Coach Joe himself. For my source to be correct, and trust me, he damn well is, this has massive implications for both the NASCAR community and the world as a whole. Is Toyota utilizing skinwalkers, aka shapeshifters? Is Toyota producing thousands of tiny 5'5" ginger leprechaun clones, in an attempt to totally usurp the field? Are there aliens involved? Just how many Tyler Reddicks are there? Fellow reporters, open your eyes to the truth. Do not let Toyota take over the world with their army of Tyler Reddicks. Act now. Speak up. And together we can defeat Darth Sidious Gibbs.
Spurs Ted Lasso, caller of the month, Darth Dingus Gibbs. That is the hell of a conspiracy theory, Spurs. And you know what? I love a good NASCAR. I think I'm going to dive into it. So let's check out the facts. Spurs Ted Lasso sent this photo to me right here. Okay, look at this photo, and you tell me. It does seem like Red Dog may have been at a wedding, may have not raced. One thing we know is that Red Dog just came off a win. Red Dog's been hot, okay? In Texas, the stats show he finished 25th. Doesn't really sound like Red Dog to me. Think we might be seeing some NASCARs. I mean, look, they already had AI robotics out everywhere at Texas Motor Speedway. You know, they had to do something to show that there were fans coming there in the 107-degree heat. Fortunately, robots can't feel temperature, so that's why they had those out there. I'm just going to say, with the 25th place finish, the photo, and the fact that AI robotics were attending the race, I could see where this could be true, Spurs. I'm just going to lay it down there. I could see it's a hell of a NASCAR you brought to my attention. I love a good NASCAR call. It's a hell of a way to go out for your caller of the month call because, you know, it is time for the voting again, guys. And Spurs has been a great caller of the month. We're getting ready to move into October, though. And I think instead of calling our next one, you know, Mr. September for the month they represented, I'm just going to go ahead and start calling them in the month that we're in. So Mr. October will be the name of the new caller of the month. So get ready, okay, because we're going to be voting on that soon. But Spurs, great call, great reporting. I can't agree more that something's sketchy here. We're going to have to talk to Toyota, to Tyler, something, and figure this out. Great reporting. I appreciate you, Spurs Ted Lasso, caller of the month. There he was. There he is. We're going to go ahead and move on now to our next caller. We have Mr. Zach Cook from Alabama. Let's see what Zach had to say.
Hey, Garage Guys. Zach Cook from Alabama. And I have some thoughts about Texas, and it was okay as a race. I prefer it won't be on schedule next year, but I don't know who's going to do that. They may turn it into a super speedway like Atlanta, and I don't remember what Kyle Busch said, but Kyle Busch said something about, I don't know what he said really, but Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace dominated no matter what, and it came down to the final laps, and William Byron in 24 got the win. So, you know, graduated for Hendricks with 300 wins. I'm a Hendrick guy, so it's just, you know, it's a good day of motorsports for me. But I just wish Texas be off the schedule next year, and I'll be at Talladega next Sunday, or this coming up Sunday. So I can't wait for that, and I give my input once I get back from that trip. And I just can't wait for Talladega. Hope to go to get drunk and be a little bit rowdy, but, you know, and hope Kyle Larson get a top 5 finish or possibly win. Not one of his best tracks, but it's one of those good tracks. So, yeah, so it's just an okay week of motorsports. And Formula One, Max Verstappen got the win as usual, and I think Logan Sargent should not be in Formula One because he's constantly in wrecking this past season, and as an American Formula One person or fan, it's just getting old. So either change his racing style or get a new American Formula One driver. All right, guys. See you guys later.
Thanks for calling, Zach. breaking news on this show. There are Formula One fans in Alabama. Believe it or not, there's proof. Zach Cook called to talk about it. Just to kind of get that out of the way recently, you may have noticed there was no winners boxes on this episode. I don't really know if I'm going to keep doing that or not. But what I will say is this. A good buddy of mine has a Formula One podcast called Formula Bone. He's got some great merchandise for Williams, where Mr. Logan Sargent runs for. Winless racing. Yeah, it's a money race. If you have a lot of money, you're going to win. Logan Sargent, though, can't really say much because I don't really watch much. But, it was the Japanese Grand Prix. Great track, great time. Race was on at like 1 a.m. We all knew Max was probably going to win. So, don't know if Netflix is going to be back to film for that one, because that would be a very fucking boring season. As far as everything else goes, though, Zach, love to hear that you're going to Talladega. Also, greatest place to have a rowdy time. You're from Alabama, you know that. But going back to what you were saying in Texas, you mentioned something. Now, you talked about a lot of stuff. I know you're a Kyle Larson guy, but you brought up Kyle Busch. And this is one of the main things that I wanted to talk about. It's one of the main things that I talked about on the podcast. It's one of the things that I was tweeting about, that I talked about on playback.tv/GarageGuys this past week when we were doing the social broadcast of the race. Something's not right with him. Something's up with Kyle Busch. His confidence has went to shit. He has no asshole in him anymore. I loved Kyle Busch when he was an asshole. And everybody hated him because he was like that. Now, with him losing that, you can't really hate the guy, but I almost kind of do now, because I'm not going to say I hate anybody, but I will say that I just don't like him anymore, because he's not showing his personality and it's not reflecting in the car. He's got 3 wins this season, okay? And in Texas, I had a bunch of Kyle Busch fans jump me on Twitter. I tweeted about him not listening to his crew. His chief was on the radio telling him, like, yo, we saw these problems with this car. This isn't a tire issue. It's not a vibration. You just got to be careful going through this turn right here, because we saw that's where a lot of people were fucking up, slipping and losing the car. So, lo and behold, he's pushing it. You want to at least wait until you can get in a position to go into the pits. And I said it live. I said, this would be a great time for Kyle to let off the gas, fall back. Don't worry so much about the stage 1 finish. You got a decent race car. Get down pit road. Let them look at it. Do whatever they need to do. Make an adjustment. Whatever. You can always find ways to make adjustments for the driver. It doesn't always work out, but you can try. And he fucking spins. The car gets out from under him. He wrecks into the wall. He drives backwards, which was cool as shit. He did that. The ambulance was chasing him. But then I tweeted about how, these are things that you have to be on top of, and you got to trust your crew, man. You're not running with Toyota anymore. You're in an RCR car, significantly less performing than what you had before. So you got to do what you have to do for that car and for that team. And I got fucking smashed. I got called an idiot and everything else. And I don't give a fuck. You call me what you want. I got my opinion. But even after he got out of the infield care center, he was saying it himself. He was just like, when I push and I try to get aggressive and do this thing, these things happen. But it seems like when I go slower and just kind of ride around, we have better finishes. Well, there you go, dog. Then that's what you need to do. Winning doesn't always mean leading every fucking lap and dominating, Slow and steady wins the race, bro. You're in the playoffs. You want to make it. You want to milk it, dude. And I was also really just mad because I had bets on him, and I lost, and he was my number 1 guy. So, yeah, I was pissed the fuck off. But besides the point, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew where I was coming from, and the fact that Kyle backed his own shit up that I was actually talking about made me really happy. So I don't dislike Kyle all the way yet. But it just ticked me off that he wrecked, because I knew he had a good car and I knew he could have contended for a win at Texas. So that's how I feel about it. That's kind of what he said. Here's the video clip, and I'll show you. It'll come from the horse's mouth.
I'm a complete letdown to my team right now, not being able to get the results that we need. Every time I try, I crash. And it's like the less I try, the more I ride around, the better day we have.
So there you have it. That's the one. And yeah, shout out to Willie B, Big Hat William Byron. Saw a bunch of comments about that too. You know, at this point, I think it's more of a Mr. H thing. He likes things real big, like Manny Fresh. You know, it was a trend in 2022. Somebody's got to keep the Big Hat Company in business. Why not Mr. H and William Byron? I guess. You know, I think it's kind of corny, but that's their jam. It's what they like. So, fuck it. Roll with it, baby. Let's go to the next caller. We're going to move now to a new caller on the show. This is on the high side from Brooklyn. High side. Here he is.
All right, on the high side here, calling from the most beautiful city in the world, Brooklyn, New York. And listen, I just want to say, Kyle Larson had that win in the bag. It was in the bag. The trophy was already getting his name engraved on it. It was for us. And then here comes Bubba freaking Wallace. And I know Bubba Wallace. He didn't really have anything to do with it. But I have to blame somebody, because if I don't blame somebody, that means Kyle Larson ran out of skill. And if he runs out of skill, that means the world will cease to exist. And the worst part about it is we got Talladega coming up. Kyle Larson does great at super speedways. And then we got another road course coming up where Kyle Larson also does amazing at. Our whole playoff hopes are in the garbage now.
Thanks for calling on the high side. Couple of things, a little debatable. Brooklyn, New York, maybe not the most beautiful city in the world. I'll just say that. There's a lot of cities out there. Number two, Bubba Wallace definitely was a part of why Kyle Larson wrecked. If Bubba Wallace would not have been right there on his door racing him hard, it wouldn't have created an air pocket to where Larson would have lost the car. So that's number two. And then number three, you mentioned Kyle Larson's great at super speedways. Not really, dude. I'm just going to be straight with you. Kyle Larson, I think he had his best finish at Talladega last year. But other than that, Larson has not been a great super speedway racer at all. So I just wanted to mention that. That way you'll know going forward in the future. I don't have the stats pulled up right in front of me, but I will say that he's not been that great at super speedways. So, but for everything else with your call, man, it was hard racing with Bubba. I think it's safe to say you can blame Bubba. If Bubba was not there, like I said, that probably wouldn't have happened. Kyle Larson did have the car. He was a fucking rocket ship. Him and Denny both were fast. Larson got up front. Texas, one of those races where you got to be up inside at least the top 12 to make some moves. Everybody behind that is just stuck on a fucking slot car track. That's Texas. So there's really not much we can do about it. But yeah, I think Larson will definitely find a way to get another win before the end of this season. He's already locked into this next round. I think he'll be fine on points as long as he can get some decent finishes moving forward. And, I would just say Larson's probably got his sights set on Phoenix or a place like Vegas right now. That's probably going to be one of his better shots to win. I do think Kyle Larson will probably have Vegas in the bag to really get him that safe, comfortable seat for the championship. But I do appreciate you calling, brother. Thanks so much. Make sure you keep calling. Let's move on now to another one of our regulars. Has never missed a show. Has called every time. You know him as Mr. July. It's Casey. Motherfucking race him.
What's up, Chase? Once again, Casey Racem, forever and always Mr. July. Didn't really get to watch much racing this week because I had a busy weekend, but Xfinity, congrats to John Hunter Nemechek. Cup, congratulations to Slick Bill Byron. As always, feel like I'm giving them a bunch of congratulations this year. But this is one thing I really want to point out. Today, on Monday, this morning, IndyCar released their 2024 schedule. We got great news, doubleheader at Milwaukee, but the sad thing is we did lose Texas, which I'm hoping that we get it back next year. It just sounds like the NASCAR date kind of went back and forth with it. That's just something I wanted to ask you. What's your thoughts on this year, on this 2024 IndyCar schedule? Because right now the plan is I'm getting my plans in place for 2024, and I'm hoping to be at some races next year. We're just waiting for the IndyCar schedule to drop. I'm Casey Racem, and I'm out.
Thank you for your service. Hunter from Arkansas, a.k.a. Casey Racem, that was him. Love the fact that you brought up the IndyCar schedule, because as soon as I saw it drop, I automatically knew exactly where I was going to be on my birthday in 2024, and that is St. Petersburg, a.k.a. St. Pete, March the 10th. Book it. I will be in St. Pete March the 10th for the IndyCar opener. That is my birthday. 32 years old for this old man right here, and I'm going to be enjoying it with my boys of the IndyCar with the open wheel thrills. We were in St. Pete last year, or this year for the 2023 race, one of the most exciting street course races of the season. So if you're watching this, you're planning on going to an IndyCar race, just go ahead and book March the 10th, the opener of the season. I'm going to be celebrating hard in St. Pete, let you know. I do hate that we lost Texas. Texas was one of the more exciting oval races this year. We saw a lot of just amazing movement on the track, a lot of passing, a lot of strategy calls. So it does suck to see it go. I have not got to watch a race at Milwaukee. I missed the truck race because we were in St. Louis, so I'll need to go back and watch that truck race maybe just to kind of get a feel for what that track's like, maybe some older races. Some other races that I like on here, obviously I'm going to be on May 26th. I will be in Indianapolis for the Indy 500. Kyle Larson's going to be running for McLaren. I'm not missing that. Still going to try to sneak onto his airplane to do the Coke 600 as well. So definitely will be in Indy for the month of May. We got Streets of Long Beach and Barber Motorsports Park in April. I may be back at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, one of the wildest tracks I've ever been to. They've got some really sketchy Illuminati art out there. So if you've ever been out there before, you know what I'm talking about. Still a great race, though. Had some fun with it. The Streets of Detroit races in June, Road America in June. We got Laguna Seca in June. And then, the Mid-Ohio races, 2 Iowa races. Iowa's always fun. That's July 13th and 14th. And then August the 17th, I'm sure we'll be back for Worldwide Technology Raceway. That'll basically be the IndyCar. I guess, I don't know. I don't know if that will be the IndyCar Oval World Finals anymore, because Milwaukee will be in that spot now. So, I guess that's where that's going to be. And then September 15th. The streets of Nashville for the ship, dude. Like, holy shit. That's going to be incredible. And I feel like I have to be there. IndyCar really making some big moves, just kind of making that the highlight of your call right there. I appreciate you calling in. It was cool to look over that schedule. I hope to see some of you on the report at some IndyCar races next year as well. So a lot of IndyCar to come. Thanks for calling, Hunter, a.k.a. Casey Racem. Let's move on to another new caller. This is Seth from San Antonio.
What's going on? My name is Seth from San Antonio, Texas. I just want to say, despite all the hate that Texas Motor Speedway gets, this past race is probably the best one we've had in recent years. Since we're all betting men, we really need to start considering Darrell Wallace Jr., a.k.a. Bubba Wallace Jr., as contender to go maybe into the round of 8. Talladega is up, and he does really well there. If he sticks it, if he gets out of the way of all the trouble, all the chaos out of there, and he goes into the Roval with a nice little point gap, he might just find himself in. But the Hendrick boys, I don't know, they're on one. Don't count out Kyle Larson, Young Money. He's gonna go in. But anyway, appreciate all the stuff y'all do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Take it easy.
Seth from San Antonio. I appreciate all you did for calling the hotline this week. Thanks so much, man. It's some good takes, too. Look, I gave a lot of harsh criticisms about Texas. I was pissed off. If you were watching on playback.tv/GarageGuys, I was just really frustrated with bets. I wanted to win. I'm ready to win a NASCAR outright again. We had a couple of matchups hit. The Blaney over Reddick prop not hitting because of the wreck. It was a brutal betting day. Let's be real. But the racing's I'll be real. The tire problems that we saw were probably more on the crews for the car. Maybe not tightening it properly or whatever. We had significantly less. But I went in with the expectation of this was going to be like Kansas, or should be like Kansas or Charlotte, where we had a lot of action. Texas has just not been that. And but I can agree with you. It was a little bit better than what than what I thought maybe it was going to be at the beginning of the race, with the tire stuff already happening. So not the worst, not the best. That's where I stand with it. Your comment about Bubba, I'm with you, dude. Like, you got to look at the serious possibilities here. As long as he can just milk it out throughout the rest of these races, he should be fine. I'd love to see him close up at Talladega. He's been close to doing it. It's just always getting challenged right up there in the end. And, this week may be that time. I got bets up on Action Network, so I don't have any on Bubba just yet. I'll probably wait and pull the trigger on that over the weekend if I decide to. But definitely got some big long shots on there right now for outright. So, really just appreciate the call, Seth. Thanks so much. Let's move to this was kind of a different voicemail. I don't know where he's from, but and apparently he's my favorite Colton. This is favorite Colton.
It's your favorite. It's your favorite Colton. Again, watch Texas the last 50 so laps of it. I don't like Bubba Wallace. That's all I have to say. Happy about the results. Yay, 100 car won. Woohoo. And yeah, all I have to say is I predict for Talladega that it's going to be not a friendly terrain. I really think I'm going to predict it here. You should put your money on it too. You really like putting your money on things. Give me some trust here. Give me Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson at Talladega. He's only had one top 10, I believe, in his career at Talladega. Let's make it a win. But yeah, Merry Christmas.
You're not my favorite Colton. That was bullshit, dude. I'm not putting my money on Kyle Larson at Talladega. I'm not doing it. No. You that's all you had to say was Bubba sucked. And then you said more, and then you said that's all you had to say, and then you said more. Dude, you're not my favorite Colton, bro. I'm not betting on Kyle Larson, dude. Keep calling the hotline. Let's go to TJ from New Jersey.
Hey, this is TJ from Green Flag Pit Stop down in New Jersey. I still want to know who the fuck threw that cucumber. We need to figure this out. Who threw the cucumber? Why is it saran wrap? Were you trying to be nice and give it as a gift? Or did you not want it to get dirty? And why did they stick it in the freezer afterwards, after it was all over the track? Gross. And then you put it in the freezer with all that food. Who threw the cucumber? We need to know. Mom, the meatloaf.
TJ from New Jersey. I love the Wedding Crashers reference at the end of that. And yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to figure out who threw that cucumber, TJ. Bristol was supposed to be joining the investigation. They never got back to me. So, it'd be one of those unsolved mysteries for a long time. I appreciate you calling, my man. Thanks so much. Let's go ahead. We're going to cap it off now with, you know him very well, Discord favorite, a.k.a. the Zen Daddy, is Super NASCAR fan Andrew. Let's see how his weekend was.
Hello, Super NASCAR fan Andrew calling. Wasn't able to watch any racing this weekend because I was working U of M football again, which they end up winning, and then on Sunday I ended up going to a wedding, but got to see that the Lions beat the Falcons, which is cool. Unfortunately, your Saints had some heartbreaking with the Packers. That kind of sucked because I had both Lions and Saints in a parlay, and they ended up losing because Saints can't hold on to the lead in the fourth quarter. But I know the Motorsport show, so since I didn't watch the race, I can't really talk much about it and stuff. And Kyle Busch did some dangies, which that did not do well. But I saw that the IndyCar schedule is out, and it's really cool that they're going back to Milwaukee, and it's actually going to be a doubleheader, which is 2 races, which that'll be really cool to possibly go to. And then saw that Texas is off because it sounds like NASCAR's taking the spring date for IndyCar at Texas, so they can't do Texas anymore, which sucks because there's only one big oval that IndyCar has now, and that's Indy 500. So I wish that there needs to be at least 1.5 miles on the schedule come 2025. If there isn't one, I'd be disappointed even more because big ovals, especially back in the early 2000s, yeah, they're dangerous, but they're fun to watch too. It creates some good racing on like the back in the day with like Chicagoland Speedway when IndyCar used to race there, and even Michigan when they were going 240 around a 2-mile track, and Auto Club was great for IndyCar as well. There's plenty of great oval racing, and it seems like it's become a lack for it now other than Indy 500, which is really disappointing, honestly. But should still be a good IndyCar season next year. It's cool that it's ending in downtown Nashville, which will be fun. So talk to you later, Chase. Bye.
Good to hear from you, Super NASCAR fan Andrew. Thanks so much for the call. Yes, it did suck that the Saints lost. Greg Mathern had them +1 for a fucking bet in that game. Dude is a magician. I don't know how he did it, but it was upsetting. You want to feel like that was going to happen. The good news is AK is back. And if you want to call football racing, Alvin Kamara, he's a big NASCAR guy. He loves racing, so I think it's okay to talk about that. But you're talking about IndyCar as well. I didn't get to mention this on Hunter's call. You were talking about the Texas race. Yes, it looks like NASCAR will be going to Texas in the spring. So that is, I guess that's good news. I also could see it, possibly being earlier. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what they're gonna do for Auto Club yet. I don't know. If I find out, I'll know. But I know that the Chicago Street Course should be back on the NASCAR schedule. But for IndyCar, yeah, man, you want to see those bigger ovals. I think that, they're just going to really rely on the traffic for the Indianapolis 500. It's going to be a really big event this year with the NASCAR driver Kyle Larson being there. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But all in all, I think it's going to be good. And I can't wait to enjoy some of that. Hopefully we'll see you at some of those races, if not there. Of course, some NASCAR races. But thanks for calling, as always. And yeah, that's a wrap on Garage Guys Report Hotline voicemails for this episode. The number to call, 919-769-4477. Call that number every week. And we got a vote to make, guys. We got a vote now. Mr. October. Who's it gonna be? It's got to be somebody that's going to be representing, holding it down. I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now. Bill from Belleville, throwing him back in. I don't know where he's been. I'm going to get someone to check on him, but I'm putting him back in the running. We're going for 3 months in a row. The guy's produced some amazing voicemails. We're going to put him in the running to be Mr. October and hope to God that we hear from him. I'm also going to have to put, Spurs Ted Lasso back in the running again. He's produced some amazing voicemails over the month. You can't say he hasn't. He got voted in last year. We're going to do it again for him this year. Or not last year, last month. This month, he's going to run again. Got to go ahead and put Hunter from Arkansas, a.k.a. Casey Racem. He's back in the running for Mr. October. And one other guy that I'm going to add, it's got to be Super NASCAR fan Andrew. He's been calling in religiously. A man of the people, the Zen Daddy himself. So that's the 4 guys that are in the running for Mr. October all the callers that have ran through September. So we have Super NASCAR fan Andrew, Spurs Ted Lasso, Hunter from Arkansas, Bill from Belleville. That's your 4. I'll have a tweet up this week for you to vote on them. And before we go on the report, I know we didn't have a whole lot of news. We just kind of talked a little bit about Texas, gave some thoughts on that. But, we got to talk about a couple of stories that weren't brought up. This week in the news, one story that I saw that was pretty crazy, it has to do with politics. Okay, we don't talk politics much on here, but I felt like this needed to be discussed. Former NASCAR driver, Austin Terrio, Mr. Terrio, call him AKA Lil Terrio. He wants to be a politician now. Here's a video of him talking about challenging the current sitter in that place of politics. I didn't do well in poli-sci, but here's the video of Austin Terrio coming out to say that he's ready to run in politics. Here it is.
A former NASCAR driver is challenging Jared Golden for his congressional seat. 29-year-old Austin Terrio, who's currently a Maine lawmaker from Fort Kent, announced today that he's running in the Republican primary for Maine's 2nd District congressional seat. Congressman Golden, a Democrat, hasn't always voted the party line, and he's been critical of some of President Joe Biden's recent policies. But Terrio says Golden doesn't push back enough.
I mean, look at Jared's vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which basically, now that we know, had nothing to do with inflation. It was hundreds of billions of dollars worth of additional government spending, particularly for special interests. And so, when push comes to shove, we're realizing, unfortunately, Jared doesn't really have the pulse of the people, and I think he's forgotten where he's come from.
Now, Jared Golden said in a statement to the Associated Press that he's not worried about primary candidates and that he's focused on his work in Congress right now.
Well, the current sitter doesn't seem too concerned, and I could probably understand why. I went and looked up his record. Apparently, he has an ARCA championship, so not really a NASCAR driver, more of an ARCA driver. He also has 0 wins, 0 top 10s, and 0 poles in the NASCAR Cup Series. 0 wins, 0 top 10s, and 0 poles in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 0 wins, 5 top 10s, and 0 poles in the NASCAR Truck Series. So, I guess all that's really to say about Austin running is I hope that he can win this race because he hasn't had much luck winning any other ones. Let's now move to another story that I'm just really fucking sick of hearing. I'm so sick and tired of the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce shit. It's everywhere. It's all over social media. I don't want to hear about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift anymore. I'm done, okay? It's been all over the news. It's been on every sports talk show. It's all over Twitter. One thing that was interesting, and I get it, apparently the Taylor Swift effect. This is how it works. Travis Kelce and her. My wife, I had to get my wife to tell me the story because there was no way in hell I was looking this up. Apparently, Travis Kelce gave her a friendship bracelet. And then then she shows up at a football game with his mom. She's screaming, "Let's fucking go." And every sports organization is using it for all of their tweets. This has nothing to do with motorsports. This is football, but it's everywhere. It's worldwide. And it got me thinking. This is what NASCAR needs. NASCAR needs a T-Swift effect. NASCAR needs something that's going to push us over the top. NASCAR needs a pop star. That's the only way that we're going to get this much exposure, and I've realized it. So I've done some work. Guys. I went and looked up how many single female music artists are out there in the world. And I went and looked up how many single NASCAR drivers there are out there in the world. It's a very short list. I'm going to be straight up. But I think I've narrowed it down to enough. I've got 3 NASCAR drivers that I know that are single. 3 female artists that I know that are single. And I feel like we can put them together and we can make something happen. So we've got some options. Let's be realistic here, though. The whole poppy effect, Taylor Swift, we're not going to reach that level with a pop star, okay? The NFL got Taylor Swift with Travis Kelce. That's up here. That's a high of highs, Okay, if a NASCAR driver goes out and gets a pop star at this point, it's just not going to be as cool. Many people can say, oh, we could see Chase Elliott with Selena Gomez. What about Alex Bowman and Billie Eilish? They're both like some emo kids, you know, they can sing each other's songs to sleep at night. I don't think that that's going to cut it. I think that what it's going to take to really take NASCAR over the top is if NASCAR gets a bad bitch up in there. NASCAR needs a bad bitch, and there is one bad bitch, her words, not mine, Glorilla. I think if we can get Glorilla together with Ty Gibbs, if we can find a way to pair Glorilla with Ty Gibbs, it would change the game. Ty Gibbs, you know, his granddaddy owns a NASCAR team. He's got a little bit of swag to him. I'm not going to lie. He's got a little swag in his step. He's always got some Monster Energy girls with umbrellas by him. He carries that swagger. He really does. And I think it would be perfect to match him up with a bad bitch like Glorilla. Again, her words, not mine. And so when you look at Glorilla and the swag that she possesses and what she can do, I really just feel like it'll change the game forever. So Glorilla, Ty Gibbs, we need to find a way to make that happen. We're going to take NASCAR over the top. Glorilla coming in to date Ty Gibbs. That's what needs to happen. That's the way it needs to go. That's our Travis Taylor effect. All right, so I figured it out. I've cracked the case. That's how we're going to do it. That was a little bit of news there and some opinions that I had to share. But this has been episode 18 of the Garage Guys Report, Motorsports News for You. Keep calling the hotline. Make sure you subscribe to the new Garage Guys YouTube channel. And just go have a badass rest of your night or your day or whatever time you're watching this or listening to this. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Motorsports News for You.
1, 2, 3, 4. Garage Guys Report. Garage Guys Report. It's the Garage Guys Report. Motorsports News for You. It's the Garage Guys Report. It's the Garage Guys Report. Yeah. It's the Garage Guys Report. Yeah. It's Motorsports News for You. Yeah. It's the Garage Guys Report.